welcome back to Buck's Beat Podcast. This is episode number 110. And today we're going to play the hits. And the hits today would be the big news coming out of the college football recruiting scene as Jackson Cantwell, the top-rated player in the country, top-rated player nationally, five-star offensive tackle, made a big announcement this afternoon and shook the recruiting scene, announcing that he would be attending Miami to play for the Hurricanes, making a verbal commitment to Miami. Georgia, I'm sure, disappointed. Kirby and Stacy Searles appeared as though they were in the hunt for his services. Also, Dan Lanning out at Oregon felt like they had a shot to get this number one rated player in the country. Ohio State also in the mix, too, as he stood up earlier today and announced that he would be joining the Hurricane program. Georgia disappointed, I'm sure, and if you're a Georgia fan, you used to maybe a lot of these decisions going the Bulldogs' way. Cantwell would have become the eighth 4- or 5-star offensive tackle to go to Georgia in the last three recruiting classes, which is really, really impressive. So, hey, if anybody can absorb not getting the commitment from Cantwell today, I think it would be the Georgia Bulldogs. Since Kirby has been at Georgia, Cantwell would have been the 19th, all right, the 19th 4- or 5-star offensive tackle to go to Georgia. So it's been really amazing, the run that Kirby's been on. And, you know, when Kirby got the job, this is one of the things that I was hoping he would be able to fix. Look, for decades, Georgia was able to match up with any of the best teams in college football at the skill position, on the perimeter, talking about quarterback, running backs, receivers, cornerbacks, linebackers, and safeties. But where I felt like Georgia was coming up a little short was when they faced a lot of these premier programs like Alabama. They were coming up short because they couldn't match up in the trenches, on the line of scrimmage. And Kirby has changed all of that, which I'm just thrilled with his ability to go out there and sign these defensive linemen and these offensive linemen. And now Georgia can match up with any team in the country, Ohio State, Texas, Alabama, you name it. Georgia can win on the line of scrimmage. Kirby and Searles have done a great job of luring in these offensive linemen, as those numbers say. And look, you can see the impact that that's made under Kirby, this commitment to the line of scrimmage. That's why the Bulldogs are 105-19, winning almost 75% of their games since Kirby took over. This is why the Bulldogs are 5-2 in the college football playoffs. This is why the Dogs are 62-11 in SEC play under Kirby Smart. This is why Georgia is 50-4 under Kirby Smart at home, playing between the hedges at Sanford Stadium. And this is why Georgia has won 2 national championships, back-to-back titles, with Kirby running the show. It's the commitment to winning the battle on the line of scrimmage. And look, Jackson Cantwell, top-rated player in this 2026 class, 16 years old, 6'8", 316 pounds, benching over 500 pounds on the bench press. Last season, in his junior year, he had 158 pancake blocks where he put that defender on his back and did not allow one sack. I mean, he didn't give up any sacks. Watching the highlight reel, you see a guy that's got great feet, whether it's getting leverage in the run game or in pass protection. Really great feet. Just watching him. Strong hands. I mean, when he gets his hands on you, he's commanding that defensive lineman. He's getting push. And then the third thing that really stood out to me watching him play was he's got a nasty streak. And doesn't everybody hope their offensive linemen have a little bit of a nasty streak? He's also athletic. And when you learn a little bit more about him, he holds the high school record for the shot put at over 73 feet. And his dad won the silver medal at the 2008 Olympics in the shot put. Speaks a little bit about his athleticism. Now, why is Kirby being so successful getting all these great offensive linemen on campus? Missed on Cantwell, but they were down there in the mix to the very end. There are three reasons why. Number one, Kirby's able to look these offensive linemen in the eye and look their parents in the eye and say, you come to Georgia, you're going to win big. Number two, he's got the evidence to show that you come to Georgia, we're going to develop your skill set as an offensive lineman. Look at all of the guys, as I mentioned here just a few moments ago, that are now playing in the National Football League or got drafted, had the opportunity to play in the National Football League that were offensive linemen at Georgia. It's a very long list. And then number three, Kirby reportedly, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but the word on the street is that Kirby has never been reluctant in this new world of college football with the NIL and the collective. Kirby has not been shy about cutting big checks for these linemen on both sides of the ball, which has given him an advantage against some of these schools that go big with the quarterback money, running backs, receivers, cutting the big checks for the skill level players. Kirby has been adamant to pay out top-notch money to these linemen. Cantwell becomes the 19th 4- or 5-star offensive tackle that Kirby would have had on campus, so that number is going to stay at number 18. You know, the money's a big deal. And coming into this commitment today by Cantwell to Miami, the word was out there that Miami had offered up, leading the way, offering $2 million a year to come play football for the Miami Hurricanes. Mario Cristobal also, a guy, former offensive lineman. There's an offensive line focus for the Hurricanes as far as the program goes. I bet they're sitting on these flights and on these buses they take when they leave campus. Offensive linemen are sitting up front, I bet, for Mario Cristobal. He's focused on that offensive line, and probably one of the reasons why he was able to get Cantwell today. Word on the street, though, Kirby was in the mix to the very end. But, you know, one of the red flags overnight when I realized that Drew Rosenhaus was representing Jackson Cantwell, sort of figured that Miami was probably the lead in the situation. He was hired by the Cantwells to negotiate the NIL and the collective deal with these schools he was considering, had narrowed it down to. And look, Rosenhaus, if you follow the NFL game, you know that Rosenhaus has a reputation for representing the South Florida players. Now, this kid's from, you know, the Midwest, so that doesn't apply. But Rosenhaus with a reputation to handle a lot of the high-maintenance players going into the National Football League or playing in the NFL. I mean, he had a big Hurricane clientele list and Dolphins players. But this guy is able to swim with the sharks. I'm not sure how much he and Kirby would like the presence of each other. I'm not sure that was a really good fit there. The competition at Georgia on the offensive line, maybe the kid was scared off a little bit with the competition that Georgia already has on campus. You've got Ernest Green, Monroe Freeling looking like starters coming into this season, guys that will have a shot to play in the National Football League. Then behind them, you've got Bo Hewley, Ja Jackson, Juan Gaston, last year's top-rated offensive tackle, 5-star Juan Gaston on campus. They've got these guys already there. So, you know, they're deep. When you look at the depth chart, I know Miami's accumulated some really good offensive linemen too, but that was probably a disadvantage for Kirby in this competition to get him on campus. You know, Cole Kubelik, who played at Auburn, I totally respect the work ethic that he has in this business, looking at offensive line play And on his podcast, Kubelik saying that Georgia coming into the season looks like the top offensive line in college football. And that's an offensive line that lost 4 starters off last year's team. It tells you a little something about what they have lined up to play in this 25 season. Kirby has a history of being able to sign the number 1 player in these recruiting classes. Nolan Smith in 2019, number 1 rated player in that 19 class, and now he's doing great things, winning Super Bowls in the National Football League. So Kirby has signed that number 1 player before. Just didn't go his way today. And my former teammate, Herschel Walker, was also the number 1 rated player way back in 1979. Kirby wasn't in charge then, but Georgia has a history of being able to get the number 1 rated player on campus. As far as, this guy being a tackle, probably not causing as much of a buzz, but a little disappointing. I want to invite you to go to YouTube and pull up Jackson Cantwell and take a look at what he brings to the table. He's really impressive, and it's a shame Kirby didn't add another quality piece to that offensive line, because this guy is a big-time player that's going to play early on. So right now it looks like Monroe Freeling as the left tackle, the starting offensive line. You got Micah Morris starting left guard, Drew Bobo the center. Daniel Calhoun is going to have to compete for that right guard opportunity, that job. He missed all of spring practice, so had some other guys stepping in competing while Calhoun was not in there. Ernest Green at right tackle, Josh Jackson, the backup there, Juan Gaston, Jamal Merriweather, also 5-star rated offensive tackles already on campus, looking to compete for rotating in the games and maybe claiming a spot on next year's team or covering up for an injury. Kirby's first-round picks that played offensive tackle, Amarius Mims, got Broderick Jones, Andrew Thomas, Isaiah Wilson. This is the evidence I was talking about. When you get in front of these top-rated offensive linemen, they can throw these names out there and say, look, they developed at Georgia, and now they're most of them are in the National Football League. Shout out to both Kirby and Searles for recruiting at such a high level. Even though they didn't get Cantwell, they continue to do great work. The young man going to play for the Miami Hurricanes. Let's break it down with one of the recruiting analysts and writers out there. We'll do that right now. All right, joining me now is Jeremy Johnson, covering recruiting for Dogs HQ on 3 Sports. And Jeremy, what'd you make of Cantwell's big decision that he announced earlier today?
Welcome to the new world of college football. It's kind of typical of what we kind of see nowadays. Obviously, I had a lot of buzz with Georgia over the last month almost. He moved his commitment back, I want to say about 2 weeks, and took that visit to Georgia, and things sounded like Georgia was in a good spot. And then sometime last night we start hearing, hey, Miami's still in this, and that's who gets him. So this is just one of those recruitments that just personify what today's college football recruiting is.
Yeah, Jared Curtis coming aboard, giving that commitment to Georgia seemed to was going to help as far as getting Cantwell, and then the fact that he went to Georgia last, people were reading a lot into that too. But he had admitted coming in to the last couple of weeks that it seemed like Miami, the Hurricanes, Cristobal, they were recruiting him harder than anybody out there. Is that what you were hearing?
Yeah, that's definitely what the message was before. Even before the Georgia visit was scheduled, like Miami had been far and away probably the school that was recruiting him the hardest. And obviously, Coach Cristobal's background as an offensive line coach and playing the offensive line position himself, it just kind of, you obviously as an offensive lineman can relate to that mentality. That way there's a way the offensive linemen kind of speak to each other that everyone kind of gets. I haven't been a former offensive lineman myself. I get it. You probably feel a lot of comfort, just being around a guy like Coach Cristobal, because he carries a lot of that old offensive line coach mentality with him. So I definitely think he was a priority for them for sure.
You know, over the last couple of weeks, I pulled up his highlight reel, and that was really impressive.
Yeah.
Why was the kid ranked number one? And what are you and all these other analysts out there so impressed as far as his skill set goes?
He's just so big and he's so physical. I mean, you watch him on tape and he just mauls people. He's a really good athlete. He probably will test really well. I mean, he's probably runs a 5 flat at 315 pounds and he's 6'8". Those are all the check marks you want to check with a guy that plays offensive tackle or potentially a guard spot at the next level and the level after that. So he's a really good athlete, tough guy, finisher. His family history, obviously his dad's an Olympian. If you saw the video of him committing, you see how much size his dad still has. I mean, there's a lot of genetic things that he has that makes him a special athlete. So I think his makeup is really special. He's a guy that comes into college ready to go. So I think that you have to take that into account of, kind of where he was ranked.
Think he'll be a year one starter for the Hurricanes? What's left to do? Maybe get a little stronger in the weight room, something like that. I mean, he looks like a finished product.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I mean, I think he'll probably play something immediately. Maybe not day one, but by the end of his first year, he'll be a key piece of their offensive line. I mean, I don't know his exact weight room numbers, but I already know they're pretty impressive. I mean, I'm pretty sure he squats 600 pounds, 500 pounds, somewhere in there. Probably benches 4 or something. So he's a physically strong guy, and he'll come into college built that way. I think where you kind of want to see the improvement is the pass protection. I mean, his film is a lot of him mauling people and pancaking people and, getting out and running people into the ground. There's not a lot of that pass protection stuff in there yet. But he's a good athlete. So, you'll limber him up over the next couple of years and, get him flexibility stuff and make him a little more explosive, and he'll excel at that just because I know he works hard and he's a very talented athlete, like I said. So if anywhere you can improve, it will probably be pass protection. But that's every offensive lineman coming from high school to the college level.
I think Georgia might be able to absorb the disappointment of not getting Cantwell. They have done a great job. Stacy Searles and Kirby Smart have done an outstanding job over the last 3 years. Have signed multiple 4- and 5-star offensive tackles. So if anybody can absorb getting bad news today, it would be Georgia, I would believe. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. I mean, I think he definitely was a big one at Georgia, and he was a guy they were recruiting for a long time. But I mean, Georgia just signed Warren Gaston, 5-star from Westlake, and he's just got on campus in January. I mean, you got guys like, in that class, Dennis Uzachukwu, Cortez Smith. I mean, the names are you can just list the names of 4- and 5-star guys that they have over the last 3 years that'll be on campus for the next couple of years that they can develop and, have opportunity to get on the field and play for them at some point. I mean, and this class, they've already got Graham Houston from Buford, 4-star offensive lineman, plays tackle, plays a little guard too. So he's a guy that's already in the class that, is a pretty good player, pretty special player that has a chance to help them as well. So I don't think it's going to be the end all be all. This guy was really special, and this is that's not gloss over this and say, oh man, there'll be more guys. But in reality, for Georgia, there are more guys, and Stacey Searles has done a good job of coaching those guys and being able to recruit those guys and restock that room as guys move on. I mean, you lose Amarius Mims and Broderick Jones early to the NFL draft, and you replace them with 2 guys who could also be high draft picks in Ernest Green and Monroe Freeland. That tells you what you're doing on the recruiting end at Georgia.
Then at G-Day, I couldn't take my eyes off the backup tackles, Bo Hewley, and on the other side, you had Jackson, former basketball player at 6'10", 350. Those guys look like they'll be competing to maybe get a little time in the upcoming season. So top 4 offensive tackles looks pretty solid right now for Georgia moving forward.
Yeah, those guys they look like, if you go around the country, I don't think there's many backup offensive linemen that look like Georgia's offensive line. And there's even more guys behind them that are, that we haven't talked about that are also special athletes and special with opportunities to be just as good. So, it's no reason to panic, or it's no reason that, people should be, calling for people's jobs and all this other stuff. It's just relax. It's going to be fine.
Bet Jared Curtis is a little disappointed, and I remember, as a player at Georgia, jumping in the car and helping, trying to help recruiting and getting, some good people that would play around you. So important. Jared Curtis coming on board again is going to push this recruiting a little bit, right? Another recruiter out there working for Georgia. That can't hurt them moving forward either.
Absolutely. When you have a 5-star quarterback committed, it moves the needle for people around the country. People that may have not been considering Georgia, especially at the skill positions. You're like, well, my success is tied to who's delivering me the football. And according to all the rankings and according to, the fact that they want this guy really badly, that means that this is the best guy in the country. So why not go tie myself to this guy? There's some of the impact that comes with that. And, obviously Georgia got a good class of receivers last year that are already in place and on campus. So, you definitely could see people adding to that. You got tight ends that are, obviously the tight end position at Georgia is one that's really heavily contested normally and really talented. And it's already talented, but you got two guys that are in this class that are recruiting really heavily. Mark Bowman, Caden Prothro are two guys that are still on the board. If I'm those guys, I'm like, man, can I go catch passes from Jared Curtis and, potentially be in a position that Brock Bowers is now in at, with the Las Vegas Raiders in a couple of years. So it's definitely has an impact on what these guys think about when they're starting to try to make their decisions, for sure.
Jeremy Johnson, Dogs HQ on 3 Sports. Hey, we appreciate your insight, Jeremy. Thanks so much, buddy.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys for having me.
Hey, thanks so much, man.
Oh, no problem.
I'll be in touch. Georgia came into today with a top 10 rated 2026 recruiting class. And so that won't get the bump we all expected with the Jackson Cantwell news coming down earlier today. But I just think that, Kirby, now that he's got Jared Curtis on board, you're going to see a lot of these top-rated players moving forward, going to commit and sign with Georgia, come on that first national signing day. So bad day for Georgia today with Cantwell going to Miami, but better days ahead for this Georgia recruiting class moving forward. I'm gonna go ahead and make the promise. You're going to see this Georgia recruiting class for 2026. It'll be rated in the top 5 by the time this process is all over. It's going to do it for Bucks Beat. We appreciate you hanging out. We'll do a little something different coming up next time. We appreciate you listening.